I am your refuge. You do not have to carry this alone anymore. There is a particular kind of tiredness that sleep cannot fix. It is the kind that follows you into the kitchen at 2:17 in the morning, when the house is silent, the refrigerator hums louder than usual, and you are standing barefoot on the cold floor, pretending you only came downstairs for water. But you know that is not why you are awake. You are replaying the conversation, checking the bank account again, reading the medical report for the 5th time, even though the words have not changed. Staring at a message you typed but cannot bring yourself to send. And somewhere beneath all of that noise is a question you are almost afraid to ask. Jesus, where are you when I feel like I am falling apart? I am not offended by that question. I am not disappointed in you for feeling overwhelmed. I am not standing at a distance, waiting for you to become stronger before you come near me. I am your refuge. Not only when your faith feels fearless, not only when your prayers sound beautiful, not only when you can quote the right verse without your voice shaking. I am your refuge when your thoughts are scattered, when your heart is bruised, and when all you can manage is a whispered, "Please help me." I know what it is to feel sorrow press heavily against the body. In Gethsemane, beneath the olive trees, I said, "My soul is exceeding sorrowful even unto death." I did not hide pain behind religious language, and neither should you. But listen carefully. Refuge does not always mean immediate escape. Sometimes, before I calm the storm around you, I quiet the panic within you. This is what I call the shelter before the solution. You may still hear the wind, you may still see the waves, but you will discover something stronger than the storm. You are no longer standing in it alone. And before this night is over, I want to teach your heart something fear has made you forget. You do not have to wait for the storm to end before you come home to me. I see the tiredness you keep hiding, not the kind that makes you yawn during the day, not the kind a quiet weekend can fix. I am talking about the tiredness that settles behind your eyes when you have been strong for too long. You know exactly what I mean. It is the tiredness you carry when someone asks, "How are you?" And you answer, "I am fine," because explaining the truth would take more energy than you have left. It is sitting in your car for an extra 3 minutes after arriving home, your hand still resting on the steering wheel, because you need a moment before walking inside and becoming the person everyone expects you to be. It is rereading the same email twice because your mind is crowded with things you cannot say out loud. You may feel invisible in those moments, but you are not invisible to me. You have become so practiced at carrying the weight that even the people closest to you may not notice when your hands are shaking beneath it. But I notice. I see the moment your smile disappears after the door closes. I see the breath you hold before answering the phone. I see how tired you are of being the person everyone leans on. I see every quiet battle you fight while washing dishes, answering messages, paying bills, caring for your family, and trying to keep your voice steady when someone asks why you seem distracted. I hear the prayers you never finish. I hear the sentence that begins, "Lord, I do not even know how to explain this." And then silence. You do not need polished words. You do not need to impress me with strength. Did I not say, "Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest"? That invitation was not only for people who know how to pray beautifully. It was for the weary, the honest, The ones whose hearts feel like a room with too many boxes stacked against the door. I know you may be thinking, but I should be stronger by now. No, you do not have to punish yourself for being human. So bring me the tiredness you cannot name. Bring me the awkward silence. Bring me the fear behind your smile. Bring me the tears you keep postponing until everyone else is asleep. You do not have to carry all of this alone anymore. I am not asking you to perform. You have been strong for everyone else. Now let me be strong for you. But you must understand this. When I become your refuge, I do not always remove the storm first. Sometimes I do something deeper. I need to tell you something gently, because I know how easy it is to misunderstand my protection. Sometimes you ask me for refuge, but what you really mean is, Lord, please make this disappear before morning. Make the diagnosis vanish. Make the debt resolve itself. Make the person who hurt you finally apologize. Make the anxiety loosen its grip before your alarm clock rings. And when the situation does not change quickly, you begin to wonder whether I heard you at all. I heard you. But refuge is not always the same as escape. Think about a child caught outside during a sudden storm. The rain is still falling. The thunder has not stopped. The wind still bends the trees. But the moment that child runs beneath the porch roof and feels a parent's arms wrap around their trembling shoulders, something changes. The storm is still real, but the child is no longer exposed. The rain still touches the roof, but it no longer decides where the child belongs. The storm may still be over your head, but when you are near me, it no longer has permission to rule your soul. That is what I want you to understand. You may still have to attend the appointment. You may still have to open the difficult email. You may still have to sit at the kitchen table with the bills spread out in front of you and admit that you do not know what to do next. But you will not sit there alone. My word says God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Notice those words, in trouble, not only after the trouble has passed, not only when the answer arrives neatly packaged and easy to understand. I am present in the middle of it. I know you may be thinking, but if you love me, why would you allow the storm to continue? I will not give you a shallow answer. Some pain cannot be explained with one sentence. Some storms are not punishments. Some delays are not rejection. But hear me clearly. The storm does not get to define your safety. This is the shelter before the solution. Before the door opens, come beneath my covering. Before the answer arrives, let me steady your breathing. Before you know what tomorrow holds, remember who is holding you today. I am not asking you to deny the rain, but there is a question you must answer honestly. When the storm begins, where do you run first? You run somewhere. Everyone does. Maybe you reach for your phone before your feet even touch the floor in the morning. You scroll through headlines, messages, and other people's carefully edited lives, hoping the noise will quiet the ache inside you. Maybe you keep working long after your mind has stopped being productive. The room grows dim. Your coffee goes cold beside the keyboard. You tell yourself you are being responsible, but deep down you are afraid of what you might feel if you stop moving. Maybe you replay the same conversation in the shower, imagining sharper replies you wish you had given. Maybe you check whether that person has read your message, then place your phone face down, only to turn it over again 30 seconds later. I am not saying this to shame you. I am saying it because I know you. When your heart feels threatened, it develops what I call the refuge reflex. It reaches for the fastest place to hide. Sometimes that hiding place looks harmless. Sometimes it even looks productive. But not every place that distracts you can restore you. Some of the places you run to do not heal the wound. They only keep you too busy to feel it. You can scroll for an hour and still feel empty. You can overthink every possible outcome and still feel unprepared. You can ask 10 people for advice and still feel afraid to sit quietly with me. I know what you may be thinking. Jesus, I want to come to you first, but sometimes my mind moves too quickly. Sometimes I realize too late that I have already spent half the day carrying everything alone. Then begin again. Do not turn your struggle into another reason to criticize yourself. I said, abide in me and I in you. I did not say, visit me only after you have calmed yourself down. I am inviting you to bring the restless mind, the shaking hands, and the unanswered questions. The next time the pressure rises, pause before you reach for the usual hiding place, before you open the screen, before you replay the conversation, before you try to control an outcome you cannot control. Say my name. Simply say, Jesus, teach my soul where to run. You do not need a long prayer. You only need to turn toward me before fear chooses your refuge for you. Again and again and again. Because healing often begins when your heart learns a new direction. But what happens when you turn toward me and still hear nothing? There are moments when my silence feels heavier than the storm itself. You pray, you wait, you check your phone after the appointment. You refresh your inbox. You stare at the ceiling at 3:08 in the morning, while the shadows from the window move slowly across the wall. And still, nothing changes. I know the question rising inside you. Jesus, if you are here, why do you feel so quiet? My silence is not my absence. Do you remember the boat? The wind was violent. The waves crashed over the sides. My disciples were soaked, exhausted and terrified, and I was asleep. They woke me and cried, Master, carest thou not that we perish? That question was not polished. It was not impressive. It was the cry of people who felt abandoned while I was only a few feet away. Maybe that is where you are right now. You know the verses, you believe I am good, but your chest still tightens when another bill arrives, when the test result is delayed, or when someone you love becomes distant without explaining why. Let's be honest, sometimes faith is not a triumphant song. Sometimes faith is sitting on the edge of the bed with swollen eyes and whispering, Lord, I am still here, and I see that. I stood and said to the sea, Peace, be still. But before the wind stopped, I was already in the boat. Do not miss that. My presence was not proven only when the waves became quiet. My presence was already real while the boat was shaking. Do not mistake trembling for unbelief. Sometimes faith is not standing without fear. Sometimes faith is reaching for me while your hands are still shaking. This is another layer of the shelter before the solution. You may not understand the delay. I will not ask you to pretend that waiting is easy. Some answers come slowly. Some doors remain closed longer than you hoped. But do not measure my love by the volume of the storm. A loud storm can make you forget a quiet presence, but my nearness has never depended on your ability to feel it. Measure it by this truth. I have not left the boat. When you cannot hear me clearly, hold on to what I have already said. I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee. The waves may still be loud tonight, but they are not louder than my promise. There is a way to practice refuge before the next storm arrives. You do not need to wait until everything falls apart before you come close to me. I want to meet you in the ordinary moments too. Before the difficult phone call, before the house becomes noisy, before you open the laptop and feel the weight of everything waiting for your attention. Maybe your morning is not peaceful. Maybe the sink is still full from last night. Maybe your coffee has already gone lukewarm because someone needed you before you had a chance to take the first sip. That is all right. You do not need candles, perfect silence, or an hour of uninterrupted prayer before I will meet you. You only need to make room. I am not teaching you another technique. I am not giving you one more task to perform correctly. I am inviting you into a place where you no longer have to pretend. I said, "But thou, when thou prayest, enter into thy closet." That closet is not merely a physical place. It is a hidden room within your heart where you stop performing, stop explaining, and stop pretending you are carrying everything well. This is the hidden place where your soul learns to return. It may begin with 5 honest minutes at the edge of your bed. Your phone is face down, your shoulders are tense, your thoughts are already running ahead into the day. Do not fight every thought. Bring them to me one by one. Say, "Jesus, I am afraid of this conversation. Jesus, I am exhausted from trying to hold my family together. Jesus, I keep replaying what happened, and I do not know how to let it go." Then ask me one simple question. What am I carrying today that you never asked me to carry alone? Do not rush past the silence. You may notice a name, a memory, a responsibility you have quietly turned into a burden of control. Place it in my hands. Sometimes the heaviest burden is not the problem itself. It is the belief that everything will collapse if you stop holding it for one moment. My word says, "Casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you." Not some of your care, all of it. This is not another spiritual task to complete perfectly. You will miss days. Your mind will wander. Sometimes your prayer will feel clumsy and unfinished. Come anyway. Refuge is not built through performance. It is built through return. Each time you come back to me, even with trembling hands and distracted thoughts, you are teaching your soul something sacred. You have a place to rest. You have a place to breathe. You have a place where you are fully known and still deeply loved. But there is one reason some of my children still stand outside that room, even when the door is open. They believe their shame has made them unwelcome. You have spent too much time hiding from me because you believed you had to become better before you could come closer. Maybe you prayed less after making the same mistake again. Maybe you opened your Bible, stared at the page for a few seconds, then closed it because shame whispered, "You have no right to be here." Maybe you sat in church while everyone else was singing, but you kept your eyes fixed on the floor because you felt like the only person in the room carrying something ugly. I saw you, and I was not moving away from you. You thought your shame was proof that you should stay away from me, but shame has been lying to you. It has convinced you that hiding is humility. It has made distance feel like repentance. And all the while, I have been calling you closer. I know what you might be thinking right now. Jesus, you do not understand. I have promised to change before. I have failed too many times. I should be stronger than this by now. But I did not come for the version of you that has everything under control. I came for you, the tired you, the ashamed you, the confused you, the you who keeps rehearsing explanations in your head because you are afraid that honesty will make you unlovable. Do you remember the woman brought before me after being caught in sin? People stood around her with stones in their hands, ready to reduce her entire life to her worst moment. But I did not crush her. I said, "Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more." Notice both parts. I did not condemn her, and I did not leave her trapped. That is how my love works. Grace is not permission to stay trapped in what is destroying you. Grace is the place where you can finally stop hiding long enough for me to heal what you were too ashamed to uncover. You have tried to punish yourself into becoming a better person. You have carried guilt like a heavy coat in summer, believing discomfort would somehow prove that you are sorry enough. But shame has never been a good refuge. It keeps you hiding in the very place where your wounds grow deeper. My word says, "Him that cometh to me I will in no wise cast out." You have stood outside long enough. You have listened to the voice of shame long enough. Now listen to mine. So come out of hiding. Come with the truth. Come with the relapse. Come with the anger you are embarrassed to admit. Come with the question you think a stronger Christian would never ask. I am not waiting behind a locked door. I am standing near you with open hands. You do not need to clean yourself up before entering my refuge. The door was never locked. You were only standing outside, believing you were no longer welcome. Maybe it is 2:17 in the morning again. The house is quiet. The kitchen light feels too bright. Your phone is lying face down on the table, but your mind is still moving from one fear to another. The situation may not be solved tonight. The email may still be unanswered. The appointment may still be waiting. The person you love may still be distant. The numbers on the page may still refuse to make sense. You came downstairs carrying the same questions, but you do not have to carry them back upstairs. I am here, not as a distant idea, not as a religious phrase you repeat because you do not know what else to say. I am your refuge. My word says, God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Very present, not far away, not impatient with your questions, not waiting for you to become calmer, stronger, or more impressive. Present. So before you try to solve everything again, place both feet on the floor, take one slow breath, and say, Jesus, I am coming under your shelter again. That prayer may feel small, but small prayers can become doorways. Every time you return to me, you are teaching your heart that fear is not your home. I am. You may still hear the rain against the window. You may still feel the ache of not knowing what happens next. But the storm does not have the final word. I do. And I have said, Come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. You are not weak because you need refuge. You are human, and you are loved. Come closer. Let me hold what you cannot carry tonight. Leave the unanswered email on the table. Leave tomorrow's appointment in my hands. Leave the conversation you cannot control with me. You do not have to carry every question back upstairs. The safest place is not a life without storms. It is a life lived near my heart.